The sound of a bulldog puppy with toddler doing something it had never done before is the kind of sound a parent never forgets. It doesn't fit. It doesn't belong in the morning. It belongs in the part of your memory you don't talk about. Sarah heard it at 6:47 on a Tuesday. She was standing in the kitchen of a quiet street in suburban Ohio, holding a coffee that had already gone cold, and she heard Maggie, their bulldog puppy with toddler of 4 years, making a noise she could not name. She set the cup down. She told herself it was nothing. She had been a social worker for 9 years, and she had spent enough mornings telling herself things were nothing to know what it sounded like when she didn't believe herself. She walked toward the sound. In the living room, puppy at toddler's feet on porch, Maggie was leaning forward, weight shifted toward Wyatt, and the bulldog puppy with toddler would not stop. Sarah's 14-month-old was on the carpet, his face turned slightly away, one small fist near his knee. He was not crying. He was not laughing. He was just there, and Maggie was doing this thing she had never seen before. She called Maggie's name. The bulldog puppy with toddler did not move. She called again. Nothing. She crossed the room and lifted Wyatt into her arms. Maggie followed. Not aggressive, not threatening, just following, close, eyes locked on her son's face, breath slightly too fast. She told herself it was a phase. She told herself dogs got strange sometimes. She told herself she had seen worse in her years working with families, and that this was a behavior she would correct gently the way she corrected everything, with patience, with structure, with the calm professional voice she used at work. She did not know yet that Maggie was the only one in the room who understood what was happening. By mid-morning, the behavior had repeated 3 times. Maggie would settle, then return. Maggie would lie down, then rise, and come back. Sarah watched from the kitchen and felt the slow accumulation of a feeling she did not want to name. Her professional brain, the brain that had read hundreds of charts and seen the slow tells of children whose bodies were quietly going wrong, kept whispering something her mother brain refused to hear. It was the bulldog puppy with toddler. It had to be the bulldog puppy with toddler. She called Greg. He picked up on the second ring. She told him what she had seen. She heard her own voice, measured, clinical, the voice she used when she was about to tell a parent something they did not want to hear, and she realized the parent she was telling was herself. "Maybe we need to keep them separated," he said. "Just until we know." She agreed. She could feel the door closing as she said it. She could feel the part of her that had loved this bulldog puppy with toddler for 4 years stepping back to let the part of her that was a mother make the decision. By noon, Maggie was outside. The afternoon was quiet. Wyatt ate. Wyatt napped. Sarah stood at the window and watched Maggie pace the back patio in slow, deliberate lines, never taking eyes off the door. She told herself this was the right thing. She told herself she had done what any responsible parent would do. She told herself the certainty she felt was earned by training and years and credentials. She was wrong about all of it. At 2:14 in the afternoon, Wyatt stopped breathing. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was the way real emergencies arrive, the way her training had told her they always arrived, quietly while you were looking at the cotton pajamas folded on the dryer, while you were folding a small pair of socks, while you were halfway through a thought about dinner. She heard Maggie first, not from outside. From the patio door, the bulldog puppy with toddler was hitting the glass with a force that did not belong to a 4-year-old family pet. It was the sound of an animal that had decided the door no longer applied. She looked at her son, and then she ran. What happened next, she would tell the paramedics, then the doctor, then the specialist on call, and then, months later, a researcher who had been studying exactly this. Each time she told it, she would leave out the part where she had locked Maggie outside. Each time she would feel the same heat rise behind her eyes. The doctor who finally explained it was a young woman with quiet hands. She used the words WEE003 on a printed sheet of paper. She said Wyatt had been showing the earliest signs of something invisible to a parent's eye, but unmistakable to a creature whose entire world is scent. She said dogs had been documented detecting this kind of change as much as 45 minutes before any human instrument could. She said another 9 minutes and the conversation would have been very different. Sarah did not cry in the hospital. She cried in the car. She cried on the way home. She cried opening the back gate, where Maggie was still standing, still watching, still doing the only job he had ever assigned himself. She knelt on the cold concrete of the patio. She did not say much. She said his name, and she said one other thing, and she did not say it twice. Maggie hesitated. Then he stepped forward, pressed his forehead against her shoulder, and exhaled. That night she watched him circle the crib 3 times before lying down beside it the way he always had, the way she had stopped seeing. She did not stop him. She never stopped him again.